Cresswell and welcome to this webinar.
My name is Richard.
And I'm Irene, and here we all are at Kingston University with the whole team. Let me just show you around in the office. We've got Joe, we've got Andrea and Anastasia doing all the tech. If anything goes wrong today, they're to blame. But we're all in it together. So the first thing I'm going to say is welcome. We've got an hour to tell you about what we've been up to. Put on your hats, folks, if you are a little looking forward to this webinar, but also a little bit nervous about it. We always are, so that is normal. I hope you're all sitting comfortably, having your lunch. We are going to tell you about our new toolkit for end-of-life care planning. If you've been following this webinar and following our project and watched our previous webinars, then you'll know what we've been up to. If not, go to our website, victoriaandstuart.com, or the PCPLD network, who are very kindly hosting this webinar for us. So thank you very much for them. This webinar will be recorded. It will be available on YouTube, hopefully tomorrow, so you can then watch it again, share it with your friends, and catch up. There's also a Q&A box, so hopefully we'll have some time today to pick up some of your questions and comments. So do write in there and we'll keep an eye on that. But we thought we'd start with just giving you an overview of this new toolkit that we've developed over the past 2 years. And then after that, we will tell you a little bit more about the other things that we've been up to and what's in it. So, but first of all, let's just look at the toolkit itself. It's gone live last week, so what's in it? Let's see. This video will show you what's in the end-of-life care planning toolkit for people with learning disabilities. To find it, go to www.victoriaandstuart.com. That will take you straight to the website. There are various ways to navigate to what you want. You can go straight to the Toolkit tab and find the bit that you're interested in, or you can just start on the home page and find the toolkit that way. So here we are. Here is the toolkit opened up and you can see all the things that are in it. So let me take you through it. You might know exactly what you're after, so you can just click on that circle. But if this is new to you or you haven't seen it before, we'd recommend that you start at the top, which is a set of 3 guides. The first one is a general introduction to end-of-life care planning with people with learning disabilities. They are an interactive PDF. You can click on them and they'll open up. You can print them out, but it will probably be better to look at them online because it is full of interactive links that will take you straight to other websites. There are also many videos that take you straight to YouTube where you can watch demonstrations of how to use the different resources, people with learning disabilities, families, other experts talking about end-of-life care planning. You can also access this wide range of short videos on our Victoria and Stuart YouTube channel. The second guide has lots of top tips and reassurance about how to talk about dying for people who find that a little bit scary or would like some reassurance and guidance. If you do like to print them out, there are various options on all these resources for either at-home printing or professional printing. The third guide is a good place to start if you're looking for guidance specifically on how to use the resources in this toolkit. Take you through each of the resources that you could find on those bubbles on the toolkit homepage, and you can click on those links and go straight to what you want to know. So let me take you through those resources. Let's talk about funerals. Is a set of 14 pictures to start conversations about funerals. They are in PDF format, they're free to download, free to print out. Again, there's various print options. We recommend that you print them in A4 and in colour. These pictures are really good for just having a general discussion, see what comes up, what the person wants to talk about, and really be guided by that person and not by your own agenda. My funeral cards are 22 cards for supporting people to think about and plan their own funeral, or perhaps somebody else's funeral. And again, you can download these free of charge and print them out. We recommend again A4 in colour. These are single topic cards that allow the person to think about various things related to funerals. There's space to write down people's thoughts, or if the person can't write or doesn't want to think about it or lacks the capacity, Perhaps the family and friends, those who know them well, can think about it on their behalf and record their perspectives for them. There is also a recording sheet for if you find it useful to have all those thoughts summarised in one place. Remember though that it's never a one-off activity, it's a process and things change, so do come back to it. The When I'm Ill cards are similar in style and layout to the funeral cards. These are single topic cards that help people think about issues that arise when you are ill, when your health needs change and when you're nearing the end of life. An important difference with the funeral cards are that these cards are not really used to record black and white yes/no choices, but rather to think together about what it would be like for the person to go through these situations so that you can, when the time comes, make the decision based on the new circumstances, the new outlook, but also on what the person said that they want, feel, can cope with. They might, of course, at this stage no longer be able to express that, but at least you've talked about it. For anybody who is unable to do this themselves, perhaps because their disabilities are severe or profound, or because they're now too ill to talk, these cards can be used by families and carers to think through all the various issues that may arise. The other resources in the toolkit were tried by people with learning disabilities who worked on this toolkit development and found particularly helpful. The links will take you to the websites of Talking Mats, Books Beyond Words and No Barriers Here. Those are not free and in some cases you'll need to be trained to use those, but they are all helpful alternative approaches and resources for end-of-life care planning with people with learning disabilities. Finally, there is a tab that takes you to a page with other useful links, other resources, guidance documents that we assessed, and you might find some of those helpful as well. So that is a whirlwind tour around the new toolkit for end-of-life care planning with people with learning disabilities. Go to the website, have a look, and we really hope you will find this useful. Amazing the work that we've all done together, isn't it?
It is.
Before we talk a bit more, Richard, why are we still wearing silly hats?
Well, we wear silly hats at the start of the meetings because it's like an icebreaker and it breaks up the conversation. It gets us all talking. It does this.
Yeah, because it's a difficult topic,
Yes,
isn't
yes.
it? And somehow it sort of breaks down barriers and makes people feel a little bit relaxed. Do you want to? Who is this?
This is Pierre, and he is our mascot. And when we're feeling nervous or worried about something, then we just whisper to Pierre and he reassures us that everything's going to be okay.
So that's why we thought at our final webinar where we launched this toolkit, we will just have everything there to reassure ourselves as well. So as you see, there are lots and lots of different things in this toolkit, which we launched formally last week. So it's all live, it's all on our website. And we thought today we will just show you around some of that. We had an amazing conference last week, didn't we?
We did.
Which you shared. We'll show you a little bit about
Yes.
that late at the end of the webinar. But behind us, you can see lots of stars, which is things that people have written down after the conference about what they will do to spread the word and to use the toolkit. But also they wrote one thing that they will be remembering from the day. So I challenge you to do the same. Just watch this webinar and just think about one thing that strikes you and that you'll remember, and one thing that you may do differently after this lunchtime webinar. So what we thought we'd do is just show you some of those videos that we've produced as part of the toolkit, and as you saw in the short video introduction, they are all on our website, on our YouTube channel, and they're also part of the guide. And the first one we'll show you is, do you remember we all sat down together and you had to go with the When I'm Ill cards?
Yes.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And you had to, and you did the same, didn't you?
Yeah.
Your colleague Leon, we all went through his cards one by one. I I was blown away by this actually, and videoing you in your flat, and you know, you as well.
Yes.
Talking and thinking about all these questions that are on these cards. Let's just watch it, and then we can have a little bit of a chat about that afterwards. But this demonstrates to you what you can do with those pictures, and what the kind of things it helps people to think about.
Nice weather.
Or getting up and having something to do, yes.
Not being in pain with my hip.
I'm good spirits.
Coming to work, I think, yes.
Going for a nice walk without getting exhausted.
And I'm able to think clearly.
What made me feel safe and comfortable is that I did have COVID. I was at my mum's house, and it was just nice, just having her around, you know.
I can always fall back on my family and friends.
Having the right support around me, that's very important.
It's just having the comfort, just having her there with me, you know.
Lucky comforts me when I'm not well, because he stays on the side of the bed.
Someone who you know and someone who knows you, and just to make you feel happy and safe, and knows what you like to eat, and knows the things what you like and all that.
My books.
To put on a nice DVD or listen to an audio book.
I've got a lot of DVDs which I can watch, or I'm able just to have some quiet time and think and reflect.
Sometimes it's difficult being in hospital.
The good part of it is I would be in capable hands.
Doctors and nurses might not understand me if I need help.
From watching a hospital dramas like Casualty, Harbour City, there's a term, crashing. I don't know what that means, but it's making me wary of hospitals.
Too busy, noisy. I would just love to be in my own bed where I feel safe.
I'm surrounded by family and friends. Friends of a friend comes to visit.
Being here and with my family and friends around me.
Yes, I live by myself, so that could be quite hard. It could be quite lonely if I stay on my own. In fact, lying in my bed on my own, you know.
What would be hard for me is watching family and friends and watching them see me like this, and knowing how hard it would be for them watching me deteriorate. I wouldn't want to put them through it.
If I was very, very ill and coming to the end of my life and it wasn't suitable for me to be here, then I would have to go into maybe a hospice which I prefer to go into a hospice rather than be in the hospital.
A hospice would be good to be in, because then you wouldn't be on your own. In fact, you have people around you, in fact, can help you with what you need help with.
Because I'm being cared for and I'm not hooked up to machines.
Because a hospice would be nice and calm, and I'll be in my own room with my things about me.
When the time comes, you definitely have someone with you to look after you, yes. Because that's all we want, is to be cared for and to be, yeah. I don't know about that one.
I know I'm going to need lots of support and lots of people.
Bit of a difficult one, that is, yes.
I wouldn't say it'd be difficult, but it would be intriguing.
That's your private space, that is, and you're letting someone into your private space.
If I don't need all those people, then I prefer not to have lots of people around me.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about nurses, really.
From what I've watched on TV, it's always been done in a hospital, nursing home, or hospice.
I guess they would have to come, if you needed that, they would need to come, but...
It would be better to have the same nurse or doctor.
It would probably be good just to have one or two nurses, yes. In the same area, the same ones, so they get to know you and you get to know them.
Because it would get confusing if I have different people and they introduce themselves and then I have to introduce myself again.
Because they like to do some really quite personal things which you don't want every Tom, Dick or Harry to be doing, yes. If I was the king, I would have a helicopter. I would take me everywhere, but I am not the king, so I would have to use a taxi or a train or the bus, yes.
I have to get a cab to go to the hospital.
You don't. Or private jet. Oh dear.
I think it'd be pretty awful if you had to have one of them and it goes down in your tummy and you have to have then that special liquid to have.
Now this would be a new experience.
Well, I don't think I like that very much. No, that looks a bit uncomfortable, that does, yes.
I don't like having an operation unless I really truly have to have an operation.
If you need an operation, it's good to have the operation because it gets rid of what, hopefully it gets rid of the bad thing what's inside.
I get very anxious and nervous and I always need a lot of support.
So it depends on reassurance.
I don't know if I've ever told you this, but when I was little I couldn't walk till I was 12 years old. I used a wheelchair. Yeah.
So for you, being able to walk is such an important big achievement then?
It is. I would hate being in a wheelchair.
The wheelchair, I'm not sure about.
If it was a case of sitting inside and not seeing the fresh air or something, you know, but it's good to get outside. Yeah, no, if I need one, I'll use one, I would, yes.
I just want to cross that bridge when it happens. I want to go out and be outside as much as possible.
I think if I need that kind of help, because I'm a man, it might be. I think I would feel a bit uncomfortable with having any Tom, Dick, or Harry doing that. You know, that I would really want someone who I could trust, who could fit, because that's very personal. That is, yes.
If it was a new carer, I would have to get used to them first before, and they would have to get used to me as well, so it works both ways. My family, my friends.
The one who I would definitely really want to say goodbye to is my mum, yes, you know, but I would be really upset or hurt if I wasn't there for that, you know.
And I definitely want Lucky to be with me if something happens to me and I pass away.
Family and friends and my colleagues, I want them as well to be around me.
But as I say to people, that she's everybody's friend, she is, but she's my mum, she is, you know.
And I just hoped that I would just close my eyes and think about being with my mum, and then she comes to me like an angel, and then I go and be with her.
Oh, we've got to go to hang you down. This is going to be a loss.
Meet the King. Yes, no, definitely meet the King. That would be definitely on the list. Yes, that's it. Yes, taking hands and for putting the medal on me. Yes, and no, definitely meeting the King. Yes.
Number one on that list is to visit Ireland.
And his son, yes, Prince William, yes, as well. Yes, well, all of them really. Yes, but the King would be top on the list. Yes.
Just have fun. Do go out and have fun.
So I would like to see my sister get married, if she chooses to.
Go to different countries. I would like to go to Canada as well.
I think I'd like to go out for walks if I can still do that.
And maybe go back to America one day.
I'd like to go and see the sea, I would.
Remembering and reflecting on every family event, every really good moments in my life.
Go to the theatre, see shows and...
Go see shows, so...
I like this musical called Blood Brothers, I do, yes. So I'd like to see that. And
like it's just normal day, talking, laughing, and just a really positive, happy atmosphere.
or maybe a helicopter ride, yeah, to continue to do things what I can do until I can't do them no more, yes.
Other things I would like to have happen and to do before I take my final journey.
if I got to meet the king and this factor, I could probably go quietly, then I could, yes. Then I could say, I've done it, I have, yes.
You only get one life, and you got to live that life to the fullest, because you don't know what's around the corner.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you both so much for talking that through. And you know what? I wasn't sure whether you were going to be able to do this and to think through all these things, because remember when we were creating these cards with the All Together group, the resources that were already out there, all the easy advanced care planning plans, all these things, it was quite difficult for the group to think ahead, because it had questions on it, like, you know, do you want to be at home or do you want to be in hospital? It was difficult, wasn't it?
It was.
But I'm amazed at how you managed to really think ahead with these cards. What was it like for you, Richard, to do this?
It was quite difficult and quite emotional, you know, talking about what you want at the end of life, but it wasn't that easy to do, but I think it was good, yes.
It was good. It's, you know, I thought we knew each other,
Yeah.
but I've learned so many new things about you. When we're talking the same about you, Amanda, I know you for 15 years or so, but still, you know, if you find out new things, what's it like for you to think through? Because I know that you've been thinking ahead already about what might happen when you can no longer move around. What was it like to go through these cards?
It was inspiring to go through the cards and to help other people to make the right decisions. Just because we've got a learning disability doesn't mean that we can't make the right decisions and be put in the corner. That's not what we want. We want to plan for the end of our lives.
Absolutely. And, you know, when we had our conference last week, I'm just picking up one of the stars that somebody filled in, because do you remember Gemma from No Barriers Here, who gave one of the talks, sort of mentioned that she went around to care homes, and I don't know if you can see, but this one says, she said there was one care home where 30 people all had an identical end of life plan. And that ticked all the boxes because 30 people had done a plan, amazing, but they were identical, right? And that is just wrong, isn't it? Because I've listened to you, and, you know, the question about what you might want, where you might want to be when you're very, very ill, those answers were quite different for the two of you. Right. And you were actually saying you'd be a little bit worried to be completely on your own.
Yes.
And you'd rather be somewhere else.
Yeah.
Where there's people around.
Yes.
And you, Amanda, you're saying you'd want to be really in your flat as long as possible. Maybe get somebody to stay there. These things change, of course, but it means that you are really good at thinking this through and thinking about that. So the other thing we found in our co-production group with 9 people with a learning disability was that, yes, I mean, I did those conversations with you on your own. It was just you and me, and you know, you and me in the flat. But we also did those things in a group, didn't we? So it's possible to, you know, to share those conversations together.
Yes.
Yeah, because when we were talking about, you know, what hospitals might be like, or there's another video that we did using the funeral cards. That video is we showed it at a conference, and we had people wiping their eyes with crying, but also with laughing, right? And it gave people lots of different ideas. So, you know, do it together in a group. Do you think that might be what was it like, Amanda, to do that with the whole group and watch each other going through these pictures?
It was good to do it in a group to support our friends, but don't be afraid to talk about end of life care. I know it's scary and frightened, but it's part of life. And if we don't talk about it and tell people our wishes, they never go know. And if something happens to us, their families will never know what they wanted for end-of-life care.
Absolutely. And for some people, but some people did find it difficult to think about and to talk about, but actually enjoyed listening to other people, thinking about their ideas, and that gave
Yes. And we did have the dustbin, didn't we?
We had the dustbin. Do you want to explain about the dustbin?
Yeah, we had the dustbin where we talked to some people about end-of-life care, and they just didn't want to talk about it, and they kept throwing things into the dustbin, and that's good for, to have a dustbin where they could just put things in, but they just didn't want to talk about it at that time.
Yeah. So you'd have a box or something. It could even be an upside down hat. I mean, whatever it is that you say, actually, if there's a picture you don't want to talk about, you can just put it in there.
Yes.
And that's empowering, isn't it? People felt in control then. So lots of things to think about. The other thing that I'm holding up another one. There was one person who said this is it's not a form, it's not a process, it's a process, and it's a conversation. And maybe that was what's so difficult about the easy read forms that you've tried out. I wonder, what do you want to talk about the easy read forms? Because that's what most people know about and have. Yeah, there's forms that you can fill in about what you want at the end of life. Do you want to say a bit about that?
The easy read forms were not easy at all. They were very difficult, complicated, and they weren't suitable for people with a learning disability or even an intellectual disability that someone can't speak. So we made the decision not to use those forms and make our own forms that are easier.
Yeah, and maybe one of the difficulties was actually it suddenly sort of dawned on us that the problem with the easy read forms is that they all very well and good if you know what the answer is that you need to fill in. Yeah, there's a form that you need to fill in, but we don't know the answer yet often. No. You need to open the conversation, and I think that's what these pictures do. And the other resources that we put in the toolkit, like Talking Maths or the No Barriers Here approach, which is an art-based approach, is completely brilliant. The other thing some people have asked is, how about people with severe and profound learning disabilities who really cannot understand pictures or concepts, or, hold a paintbrush, for example? And, we haven't really tried this enough. It's in our trialing period because we didn't really have the time. We had to spend so much time creating the new resources that we didn't have enough time to really test it out with a wide range of people. But we think, and the parents who were involved of people with severe and profound learning disabilities sort of think that having those pictures and having the topics that you need to think about or that you can think about, helps you to step in that person's shoes and say, well, what would Victoria say if she could speak? Where would she want to be? So it would be interesting to see how this works with people with more severe and profound disabilities. So let's just go, as I said earlier, there's a whole range of videos that we've produced. This was one of them. Do go onto the YouTube channel and find the one about funeral planning, because that's also really quite inspirational, that where you all talk through your funerals. But we're just going to show you 2 more videos, actually three more short videos as an example of that are in the toolkit. That are just providing different types of guidance. The first one is about the question, what makes a good day for someone? And you'll see that that's a really important question for end-of-life care planning, because it helps you to know how somebody wants to live until the very, very end of their lives. So let's watch those videos now. If you know that somebody that you're supporting only has a limited amount of time left to live. You won't know how much. I mean, it could be a year or 2 years, it could be a week or 2 weeks. You never really know. But if you know that that time is limited and that during that time they are going to lose skills and abilities and energy because they're going to get more and more ill, then planning ahead and sort of advanced planning for how to support them at the end of life needs to include thinking about how to help that person to have as many good days as possible. Not so much how do they want to die, but how do they want to live.
As Victoria's kidneys gradually faded and faded, she wasn't well enough even to sit in her wheelchair, let alone go out. And this was a woman who loved to party. And so the world came to her. And we had to be very imaginative and bounce off each other, really, to make Victoria's life as colourful and as interesting and as entertaining as her whole life had been, really.
How do they want to live their final hours? How do they want to live the final days of their lives?
So we don't want to be going around all doom and gloom. Lisa and Victoria pick up the vibes. They may not be able to understand words, but they can certainly understand a miserable face. And if you're, feeling flat and low. So the house had to be very positive. So we had themed tea parties. I remember one was a Hawaiian tea party. And I went in and there's all the staff in straw skirts and flowers round and doing all this business. Victoria was just laying in bed smiling with absolute delight at all these people performing. And we all joined in. You see, we all joined in. Her bedroom became a place of fun. It was always bright colours and fairy lights and music all the time, because music was her language.
Who do they want to be with if they only have a day left?
When friends came, certainly to say goodbye, they were very anxious and nervous. But then, having come into this house full of light and positivity, really, and said goodbye to Victoria, they felt comforted, I think, by this. And of course, the support workers were picking up on our ideas, and they carried them even further. The Hawaiian afternoon was their idea. We had fruit kebabs, and I think we had rum punch and various other things, various things like that.
Think about if somebody only has 2 hours of energy in a day because they're so ill, that's all they've got, 2 hours, then you're helping to plan that person's care is helping them to think what they want to do with those 2 hours, how you want to use them, and really using them to do your own cooking or to walk to the shops because that's what you've always done and that's what you spend your last 10 years supporting the person to do. That might not be the best way to use that energy now. This might be the time for you to do the cooking and for you to help the person, move around the house, because they need that 2 hours of energy to be with their mum or to watch their favourite film on television or to do whatever it is that makes it a good day for them.
And they become really imaginative because she was refusing to eat as well. So they did fun things with food. I think jellies spring to mind, green jellies with fruit in. And I went in one day and she's just sitting there going like this, just, oh, this is fun. And then gradually licking it. And they became very inventive, and I take my hat off to them. They were really good.
So that's the thing to think about. What will make a good day for this person, knowing they'll be going to be asleep for 22 hours and awake for 2? What are we going to do with those 2 hours?
And we had tears, but we had lots of laughing as well.
That's me. That's Andrea. We were watching an old episode of EastEnders, and there was a funeral in it. It made me think about the hearses, how special they made it. And then they buried the coffin in the ground. Everyone looked really smart and really sad. The music was beautiful and also made me feel quite sad. We talked about it afterwards. It made me think about funerals I've been to. It also made me think about my own funeral. Andre showed me some pictures that helped us to talk about it. We talked about the carriages and the horses on EastEnders. I think that would be a bit too much for me and also too expensive. It was nice to talk about it. We had a bit of a laugh. Andre printed out some funeral cards. I drew a picture of the car I want at my funeral. I asked Andre to write it down for me. A hearse with people wearing black.
Hearse with people wearing black.
Time is limited. Talk about it now.
Yeah, very good.
Very good. Very good, Leon.
That's good.
I like that. Time is limited.
Talk about it now.
Now. Yeah. You can do it.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
You can do it.
You can do it.
You can do it.
Yes!
Yes.
Woo!
Woo, yeah.
So that's just a few of the examples that we've done. Lots of work. So you can do it. What's our hope and our dream now, Richard? What do you think we'd want people to do?
We want people to go out there now, whoever you support, go out there and go and talk to them when time comes. Help them to plan and be nice to them. Help them sit down and use these tools that we've shown you how to do it, and go out there and use it.
Yeah. Because it really is now over to you. As you said, we've spent quite a long time developing these resources, and it was a long process, wasn't it? Going through the development of all the pictures, commissioning the artists, thinking about getting it right. We just about 3 or 4 different versions of most of these pictures that we carefully looked at with the groups to see if they, how useful they were and whether they were right. And that left us with not very much time to actually test them out. Now, these resources were really developed because the question came from learning disability services, from support workers, and from services like Dimension and McIntyre, who are our partners, to say we want to get end-of-life care planning right for everyone. But when it came to testing it, it was quite striking how difficult it still was for many support workers to be able to use those resources. And it was either because people are really stressed for time. I mean, I think you probably find that, Amanda, your support worker, so you were saying the same, Richard, your support worker who comes to your house doesn't always have time to sit down.
No, they don't.
to talk to you about these things?
Not really, no. In fact, because they have certain amount of time with you where they've got to do certain things that they need to do, and they don't always have time to go discuss these things.
Yeah, so it's really, you know, for you now to download those. So go to the website www.victoriaandstuart.com, and you can download all these new pictures free of charge, print them out, and then let us know how you use them, and who uses them, because as we said, they were made for use within learning disability services, but we found that palliative care teams, doctors, nurses, you know, social workers, speech and language therapists, I don't know who you are, but also found them useful. We've heard of places where groups were set up, you know, for people with learning disabilities to come together and think together about death and dying. So that might be, so we don't really know what is the way forward and who is the, you know, who will use these and how you use them and how useful they are, and it'd be useful to let us know about that. So and I'm just going to read out some of the comments that are coming in. So Annie, you said that on social media, we said that we plan to create and try out these resources to use with people with profound and multiple disabilities. And can we say something more about this next stage, please? That's a really good question. I will show you in a moment. We do have another, the next study planned, but it is not so much about you know, about testing and furthering these resources. That's always the difficulty with doing research like this. It comes to the end, and then you need to go on to the next thing, and there is often no funding to really think about that more. So the next stage is not very formal. I think at the moment it's really a question of people using them in those settings with people with severe and profound disabilities and telling us how it goes. But we will absolutely think about, you know, maybe a more formal way of testing this out, and we haven't really planned that. So thank you for that question. And then we've got a question from Claire, who says, after you've used the cards, how do you document the person's wishes in a format that can be shared with others, such as GPs, hospitals and hospice staff? Now, you talked about the easy read forms earlier. And you know, we're not saying don't use them, because you know, if that's a format that people are familiar with, then clearly that is what you would want to use. These resources that we've developed are for opening up conversations, but then how you record that in a way that other people who need to know it can use is again really, I think, for you to know. And so I would use the same forms that GPs now use for everybody. So whether it's a hospital passport or you know, any of the other forms, you know, it's an interesting question to us to think about which are the forms that need to be accessible and in easy read, for example, or an easy format, and which don't. And if, you know, no doctor is going to wade through 36 pages of an image with something written on it. So, but it's up to the team then to make sure that the doctor understands these and knows about it in the way that these things get communicated. It's a bit of a vague answer, isn't it?
Yes.
But that is, again, that we haven't really got that far yet. We haven't got to the next step of really documenting it. We have developed documentation summary sheets. So the picture cards that you both went to, yes. For example, there is you know, a sheet that we developed where you can summarize what people said, but then you will have to find a format in which, you know, healthcare professionals who need to know it can access that information. So any final messages that we want to give to people, because we need to, we only got about 10 minutes left and we've got a few more things to watch. What would you like to say to people watching this?
I would say to people watching this, don't be afraid to talk about it, and you can make your own cards up and maybe make your own notes and maybe make a film or a video to show people that your decision with the person that you're going to support and help. And I would also say, if the person that you support, finish it all the way through. Don't start it, go away, and then someone else finishes it off, because that is really confusing.
So do you want the same person to
Yes.
pick the conversation up
Yeah.
again? Yeah, that's
Yes.
a really good point. So yeah, thank you for that. How about you, Richard? What would you say to people?
Well, I just say what I said before, just go out there, use them, and to use the cards that we provided, or we worked on, and see what happens.
Yeah, and I would also say, you know, a toolkit is a toolkit with tools in them, right? And it might not be the right tools. You know, it's no use using a screwdriver if you want to hammer in a nail. So you need to make sure that you know how to use them. Again, and the hammer is only as good as the person hammering it. So these tools may not work for you. It may not work for the people you support. They're just ideas. As I say, also go to the guides where you can really find out more. There's a guide on how to talk about dying, for example. You know, if that's what the hurdle is for you, then have a look at that. There's lots of videos in there, etc. But, you know, just have a route around. And if there are other things that you find helpful, then let us know. That would be really, really good to hear. I think that is probably all we got time for. I've got some final things to say. So I've got a couple of slides which I'll take you through. And the first one is just to say a huge thank you to the PCPLD network who are hosting this. You'll have noticed that the PCPLD network is changing its logo, so you might have noticed that. It's also got a new website. So the old web address is still active, but you might want to try out a new one, wpcpld.com rather than pcpld.org. And on there, thank you so much to those of you who have joined this webinar and then donated a $5 or whatever it was, because that really, really helps the PCPLD network. There is no source of income. As you will have heard, and I'll repeat it again, the webinar today will be available on YouTube. So if you've missed it, or if your Wi-Fi wasn't really working very well for you and the video didn't show very clearly, it will be on YouTube probably tomorrow. And all the videos we've shown you today and more are also on our Victoria and Stuart YouTube channel. So check it out, it's all there. And then a huge thank you to all these, I'll say 195 people who were actively involved. We couldn't fit them all on this slide, but you can see our team at the university is holding the flowers, and all together groups are at the bottom. But we also really want to say a huge thank you to our partners. The Open University has worked very hard on looking at all the literature. McIntyre and Dimensions, you were absolutely brilliant in helping us to understand what was needed and to support us and work with us in creating this toolkit. So thank you very much. And then there was the VODG as well. And clearly also a huge thank you to the funders, the National Institute for Health Research. I say 195, there's clearly lots more people, including yourselves, watching these webinars who have really been invaluable in supporting this. And then I can just give you a very quick, brief preview of the next project. We have been successful in securing the next grant. This is going to be a 3-year project, which again will be led by us at Kingston University, but there will be other organisations involved. Our partners here are Kingston Open University, Laura's Hospice and the University of Leicester. We will keep you informed, keep following us, because we'll tell you more about that. So I think that's probably, is there any more slides? That was it. Okay, so thank you very much for that. And we're going to leave you with just a small clip from the conference that we had last week, launching the webinar. So out with a bang, it was completely wonderful. So about 100 people were there, lots of people came, all different people. And as you say, the people with learning disabilities were really in the driving seat here. So just to sit back and celebrate and watch that.
We want to show people that you can make decisions, even if they're difficult decisions.
We have to talk about it because it needs to be talked about. We all work really, really hard.
We've turned dying into a celebration. So. We've got hands up front. Yes. Hands up. Give me your heart, give me your heart, give me this. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Baby, hands up, give me your heart, give me your heart, give me hands up, bye.